What's going on YouTube? Today we are installing heated grips for Stevi's 2018 Kawasaki Vulcan S. I've never personally installed grips before, or heated grips. I've seen a few videos on it. So we're going to go through the motions today. Hopefully it gives you a little confidence. Show me that I might struggle if it's your first time too. But we're going to, we got the APOLLÓ heated grips, the Koso APOLLÓ. These have a built-in like voltage warning thing. So if the battery voltage goes below 11.5 volts for more than 5 seconds, it cuts them off to save your battery. So it's kind of like a built-in safety feature. I got these for Stevi because of ease of installation, and I didn't really feel like adding another like secondary switch. These have a switch built in into the left hand grip, and it's got 6 different modes. So hopefully the install goes really well. I guess we'll find out. So we got a little opening for you guys. It's got the instructions. Hopefully they're not shit. Let's see here. We have, looks like we got some end caps and some glue. And then the grips with the unit. These grips, looks like for the negative, it gives you a little ring terminal right here, but the positive, I guess they expect you to either splice into some kind of wire or whatever. But since this little unit here is fused, we're just gonna go straight to the battery and just make it a little easier. Yeah, so here's your left side grip with the controls on it. It's got a little LED right there, and it lights up 6 different colors, and it tells you the heat, the amount of heat that it's about to put out. If you're putting these on a motorcycle, you have to order the grips with the 7/8 and the 1-inch grips on there. So yeah, that's it. Let's get to it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our 6mm hex to get these bar ends off. That way we can cut the grips off and get moving with this. These are usually Loctited on. I went ahead and broke it loose with these. So yeah, you might want to get a long, because they're still kind of tight, a long ratchet. Definitely don't want to try to be doing this with the T-handles because it probably won't happen. So we're going to start on the right hand side of the handlebars, the throttle side. With this one, it's got a plastic tube under it. Obviously, it's your throttle tube. You don't want to cut too deep when you're taking these off. That's the route we're going to do. I've seen people like take screwdrivers and stuff and stick them in there and try and work their way around. But we're obviously not going to be using these anymore, so we're just going to cut. When you cut, you don't want to cut too deep or too hard. You want to cut little by little and kind of work your way on until you can work the grip off. So. All right, get the last little bit right here and grips off. So we're gonna sand this down, get some of the existing glue off, make it nice and smooth and clean. All right, so I have 320 grit sandpaper right here. I'm gonna do light pressure to kind of clean it up a little bit. Get all this glue off, giving it the strokes. Cool. So what we need to do next is there's a little ring right here. It's for the stock grips. It's kind of like a little stopping point so the grips don't go too far, but these Koso grips are a little longer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna trim this down a little bit. That way it's mostly flush so we can get it over there, get the grip all the way in and not have to worry about it. So we're gonna start with the razor blade just to see if we can get it off pretty easy. And it looks like it's coming pretty easy. Watch your hands, don't want to slice yourself. Ah! Smack myself in the face. I'm gonna put safety glasses on. I keep getting hit in the fucking face. Got shrapnel flying everywhere. Alright, so I'm gonna wipe this down, clean it again. Then we're gonna get to figuring out what orientation we want to put this little wire part in and go from there.
And we're going to help.
So, basically what I had to do for this side, because this side was being a pain in the ass, is we had to take the 2 screws off of the little throttle cable housing thing with the kill switch and everything. Took the 2 screws off of that, took it off, took the 2 cables out of here, and we went and took the throttle tube and we shoved it into, we put it in the freezer for like 5-10 minutes, and I was able to get it to slide on really easily. It still took a little bit of effort, but these are so tight, I don't see these moving on this little thing even after they get hot. So what you want to do is kind of figure out how this goes before you're taking it off, and kind of mark it where it's up top, and then figure out where your cable, since you're twisting the cable, you don't want it to like get all up in your way. So we have it to where it's pretty much facing down. So full throttle is about 90 degrees. That way the cable is facing like this. And this part right here, this is kind of how I've done it. So now what you're gonna wanna do is just kind of slap it all back together. Just kind of pay attention to how it comes off. It's kind of a pain in the butt if you're not paying attention like I wasn't, because it kind of just all just popped out. So I'm gonna do. All right, so after trial and error, basically, on the struggle bus here, getting this back together, the freezing method of that throttle tube did help out a lot, because it just makes it to where you can kind of push it on there, and as soon as the inner tube heats back up, like this grip isn't going anywhere. So no need for glue, hairspray, or any of that crap. You kind of want to like match this up on the orientation where you want the wire to be, so you can kind of see where it's at now. I'll have a zip tie here, but you want to have a little bit of a slack, and then that's full throttle. So I'll probably end up putting the cable, like looping it, zip tying it like right here. That way it's not in the way, it's just hanging down a little bit. Cool, so yeah, basically what I did is I kind of visually looked at it, and I kind of shoved it in a little farther than I anticipated, so it started rubbing up against the little kill switch portion right here, like the starter switch and all the throttle cable housing, whatever you want to call it. So what I did is a 19mm socket fits perfectly on this tube, and it doesn't hit the grip, so you can put the 19mm socket in the bottom of the tube while the grip is off, and you can kind of like smack it on the floor, and it'll move the grip farther out this way. That way you can move the throttle without it hitting this little plastic piece and rubbing and causing like a bunch of resistance when you're pulling on the throttle. And you know, Stevie's on this bike and I don't want her to die, so that's the plan.
That's nice.
This little piece has like a plastic dowel that sticks out. It's an alignment dowel for the bar. Don't try and put these grips on by twisting, because you'll break it, because I did. So I'm gonna have to order this little backing plate right here, this cover for Stevie, so it's not broken. I'm sorry, Stevie. I didn't mean to break your bike, I'm just trying to make it cool. Oh man, that is fucking spot on, bro. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna, oh sorry, that just makes me excited. So it looks like if you get it just right, you should probably, like you can, there's a tiny little gap, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like just a baby gap right there, just enough to where it'll give me a little bit of room in and out, and it doesn't touch whenever we're pulling it in. And then you got bar end right here, we're gonna put this guy on. and torque it down good and tight. Some people say put Loctite on this, but it's just a bar end. Not really worried about it. German spec is good and tight. Now, some people I read on the forums for like the Ninja and all that other stuff, people who put these grips on, they were saying that they had to put a spacer on the end of these bar ends because the grips were making contact with them. So after I torque this down, I'm gonna double check so I don't have to put a washer on it. But right now this is still loose. There we go. And there's still a gap. We're good. These might be the recommended replacement for Kawasaki because it's whooping my ass. It's because I'm a fucking amateur when it comes to this. So, I mean, I kind of have the basic idea of it, but it's just been on the struggle bus. So,
Hey, lean down again. Right there. Open your mouth. Look that way. Go up.
You good? You good? Steve, you know. But yeah, so I know the basics of this stuff. I work on cars, not motorcycles. I find this fun. So doing stuff like this is a learning experience for me. So that's why I'm here making this video, so you don't have to struggle as much as I do. This side, obviously, the left side, that you could probably put a little bit of grip glue or something on there and it'll make it a lot easier because grip glue goes on as a lubricant and it'll allow you to slide on the bar a little easier. But this side goes on a plastic tube. So easiest way is you can probably even put glue on it. It would still stick pretty well. But throw it in the freezer. Take the throttle tube off, throw it in the freezer because you could just like press it up against your chest and it slides on with some force, but whenever that, like I said, whenever that throttle tube heats back up and expands a little bit, you'll be good. It'll be perfect. I'm actually kind of jealous that these are going on your bike and not mine, Steve. I'm gonna have to install these. All right, next bit. I'm gonna take your left side grip. You're probably gonna want to kind of figure out where you're sitting and where you want this button to be right here. So you want it to typically be in line with some of your other ones. Maybe like right here. And that's where the wire's coming down and it can get tucked away with these as well without interfering. See how easy it goes on. Pretty much where we're gonna go until we bottom out, which looks like that's where we're at. Holy crap. My hands, they hurt. I feel nice. All right, now let's see if this will go on. Bam, that one's on.
This thick boy.
Huh?
That girth.
That girth, boy. So it is a little bit thicker than stock, but that's what you can expect considering the fact that it's got another tube on the inside of it that insulates the heating elements. All right, so there's a few things that this kit does not include. Zip ties and a little ring terminal that you can put on the positive wire. That way you can hook it up straight to your battery. It'd be ideal to get this stuff before you start tearing your bike apart, especially if it's riding season. It's winter right now, so we're kind of not on these that much. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of figure out the orientation we want to put this this wire. That way it doesn't hang in the way, and when we go full throttle, the cable isn't super tight or snagging on anything. So that's full throttle. We're gonna give it just
That
a
was
smidge
back
more slack, and then we're gonna tighten it up. So we don't want it to move from this point. So see right there, this cable is kind of out of the way, and it pulls up and there's slack. That way it's not gonna hurt the connections up in here. Now we're pretty much just gonna follow the controls over here. We're gonna follow the wire loom down the bars, and then we're gonna end up tucking under the headlight basically. These two connections are pretty close to each other. And they said that these are watertight, but you don't want this to get damaged or move around too much. So the battery is on the left side. I almost said driver's side. I might just go around the headlight over here. That way I can kind of join these two johnnies up. Okay, so if you're installing these on a different bike, you always want to be weary of like your harness, and if it moves or if your headlight moves with your steering, or it stays stationary, like if it's mounted up here, whatever, and the steering turns and the headlight stays straight, whatever, like fairing bikes, you always want to be weary of how your wires are, which way they're going, and how they're routing, and if they're not gonna, if you go full lock one way, it's not gonna pinch a wire or pull a wire. Handy dandy. Like a freaking nerd. There's a little metal bracket, like a loop almost, that comes down right behind the headlight, like right here. You can see the little metal bracket right here. You can fish the connector for the right grip this way. That way you can have a clean connection hanging out right here. You can do it that way if you want to, if not, I don't care. They also said not to flex this thing. It already looks like it kind of is from the packaging. Anyway, so you want to keep this as straight as possible, so like mounting this under here would be ideal. We have a USB thing mounted right here. It's pretty sleek how we wired it up, but I think we're going to end up following the wires from this back to it, so maybe mount that there.
That wouldn't be a bad spot for it.
Because that's not going to... So this is what I was talking about. You want to zoom in on that? They send the red wire with nothing attached to it, because I guess they're going to assume if you have like a really long bike or something like that, and you have to splice something in closer up, or however you want to do it, or the battery's somewhere weird, and you got to route it all sorts of places, then you could just splice this into a power source, like your headlight or something. But we're just going to go straight to the battery, because you got consistent voltage there. So I'm going to tuck these through right here, and fish the harness through. Alright, so now we're in between the frame and this little bracket that Kawasaki puts here to hold the main loom for the front end. So I have the handlebars turned fully to the right. That way I know that these wires aren't going to get tugged on hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie and zip tie this unit around this harness right here. Yeah, that should keep it pretty straight. I'm going to do 2 zip ties. I'm not going to completely tighten it down all the way just yet. Not that we ride much in the rain, but it is a nice peace of mind that these connectors are water resistant. But now we're going to focus on getting these grips. You're going to want to follow the stock harness that you want to keep in mind that you're not tugging on these wires. And keep in mind, we did this off camera, but we checked these grips. I have a battery sitting on the floor. You can use your car battery or your motorcycle battery if you want. Just hold the terminals up against the battery, have somebody do that, and cycle through all the heat levels. We just put it on the hottest heat level and waited for it to get hot, and it got pretty hot, so we just let them go and started installing them, because it would be really crappy if you went through all the effort of getting these stupid things on for the grips, or one of the grips, or both of the grips not to work, or this unit to be bad. After you're doing all this like wiring and stuff, you kind of ruin your day real quick. Hopefully I can get these to go through the same metal bracket that the other one did. Oh yeah. Just kind of shoving it down here. Following that stock harness, making sure things aren't tripping up on each other. Kind of giving that a peek. Looking good. Nice and tasty. And we're gonna plug these in. Alright, now that we have all the zip ties cleaned up for the frontal section of all the wiring, we're going to follow this frame rail. This is kind of the same way that I went with the little charging cable port and a little outlet for your phone, a little USB guy. There's already a harness that's like right here, so we're just going to join that. So we're gonna take the stupid cover that if you have a Vulcan, these things are absolutely impossible to get off.
Which they've improved on the new ones.
It's like you twist the thing and then it like unhooks from these stupid things. I'm gonna take this here Johnny off. Kind of move that aside. You hand your seat off. Have a seat, Steve.
You're fine.
Oh, that was awful. Alright. Focus. So now that we got those wires, yeah, that's such a dad joke, Jesus. Now that we got those wires kind of fed through this bar right here, can you see what I'm doing on the camera? Mm-hmm. So we got it fed between the tank right here. We're gonna clean them up later.
I want to say it was something like that.
Yeah, so it's a 3. Hooks around. Oh, that's kind of neat. It hooks in right here. Wow. And it's got 2 little dowels that go into these little rubber boys. She's looking at the reflection.
Yeah, straight up every time something moves.
So it's off the sticker off my hat.
It probably is.
Is this what she was chasing in the kitchen earlier?
You're so silly, Cody.
Give the bug eyes too.
Where'd it go?
Alright, so basically you're just taking the harness and you're following this little loom down this way. Basically, this is the wire that we have for the negative that runs to the phone charger or whatever you want to call it, the battery tender port. So we're going to take this one that's already on here. I'm going to take the positive loose, slap this under there, tighten it down for the time being until I can get one of those little ring terminals for test, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna see how hot these Mama Jammas go. And see how it works. Woo!
Oh,
They work. Alright, sweet. So, they're wired up. That positive, don't judge me on that. That's intermittent. That's gonna be fixed tomorrow. But for the sake of it, I'm basically gonna do what's right here is just crimp a little ring terminal right here and slap it on that one. And, you know, finish cleaning up this a little bit, slapping some of the panels back on. But for now, let's test it out. Let's see how it is. So we got these bad Mama Jammas on here now. Hey, you got your nails did, so you get to press these buttons. You get to be hand model. We got wires ran, pretty much tucked away. Gotta clean up a few more things, but giving it an initial test drive.
That's level 1.
Level 1 is blue, and it's heating output 20%. Short press to level 2. Heating output 40%. Color of the light is green. Now, level 3 heating output is 60%. It's yellow, kind of hard to see, but close enough. Level 4 heating output is 80%, and it's orange. Level 5 heating output is 100%, and the color of light is red. So you can short press to turn it off. And then what you can do is you can tap it, go all the way back to red. And if you press and hold the button now for 3 seconds, you can turn off the grips at any level. Now, what you can do, it's got a memorizing function. So if you short tap it,
let's do this.
it goes all the way through.
I'll go to yellow. 1, 2, 3.
And it turns off, and it's got the memorizing function. So you just tap it once, it goes back to yellow.
Neato. All right, I'm gonna leave it up there. It's all right, I can feel them getting warm already.
So the level 5 temperature curve, 30 minutes, it's like full balls to the wall.
Oh, that's what it says,
Yeah.
the time-wise?
Yeah, so like 10 minutes. It says degrees Celsius, so it's saying it gets up to 80 degrees Celsius roughly. That's hot as fuck.
Well, and when you're in gloves too.
Yeah. Hey Google, what is 80 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit?
80 degrees Celsius is equal to 176 degrees Fahrenheit.
Holy shit. Well, if that's right, my God, that is, that's hot as hell. So what do you think, Steve?
Well, my nose is cold and it's winter, but my hands are warm.
Hey, that's good. So what do we do? What do we install?
These heated grips.
Yeah, the Koso APOLLÓ heated grips. So it's really neat. Is right here. That's the switch right there. It's mounted on the left handlebar.
It's clean.
Or handle grip, yeah. So
You'll notice it.
yeah. So it's all nice and it gets hot. So basically, by getting these, you're not adding another switch like Stevie's fog lights.
LED bar.
Yeah, her LEDs. It has that extra switch, so it kind of clutters up the handlebars a little bit. It's not too bad, but I just didn't want to get something for Stevie that we were gonna have to install extra stupid looking switches on. And we did a little test with the gloves on. You could feel it really well through the gloves. This is my winter gloves.
They're down here.
Yeah, those right there. But yeah, with these grips fit perfectly with the Kawasaki Vulcan. I'm assuming it's relatively the same with like the Ninja and stuff like that, if it's the same length throttle tube, which it might not be. But as long as you shave that little ring down on the throttle side, you're good. And then the bar ends, you don't have to use any kind of spacers or any of that. I might have to order these for my bike. I don't know.
Someone's a little jelly.
Yeah. Sweet. Alright, we'll check in when Stevie takes this for a rip. We'll see how she likes them. Peace. I think this would be a high of 51 today. It says it's 54, so it's close enough. So we let them, after the install, we let them warm up for about 30 minutes. I took it around the neighborhood, and barehandedly, I could barely hold, like, grip the grips very hard because
they're burning my hands right
because
now.
they were getting so hot.
They're burning my hands right now on highest.
So we've done a lot of shit to your bike.
Yeah, we have.
Got the exhaust, you got the bag. The Viking bag is really awesome. And it fits perfectly on the OEM Kawasaki little luggage rack thing that they have. And then those bars that we put on there, the frame protected highway bars. Yeah, Hefco and Becker. Now we got the heated grips on there, the LED headlight. Oh, we've also lowered your bike. That's a big thing.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, and the exhaust, whatever. But lowering it, putting those Hefco bars on there. That was just about right. So your hands feel good?
Yeah, my lips are a little cold because I have it out on the clutch, but I keep moving it back and warming it up, and then it's fine, and then...
Yeah, so I guess we'll just end this video up. We got thumbs up from Stevi. Install was easy. And those grips are hot. Literally. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.